Ankylosaurus lived during the late Cretaceous period in a world that had changed significantly from the age of Stegosaurus. Flowering plants had begun to spread across the land, reshaping ecosystems and creating new food sources while continents continued to drift toward their modern positions. The environment was a mixture of forests, river plains, coastal regions, and open areas filled with dense vegetation. In this evolving world, Ankylosaurus emerged as one of the most heavily defended animals to ever walk on land. Ankylosaurus was built like a living fortress. Its body was wide, low, and massively constructed, with a center of gravity close to the ground. This low profile made it extremely difficult to knock over or flip, an important advantage in a world dominated by large predators. Its legs were short but incredibly strong, capable of supporting enormous weight and allowing steady, unstoppable movement across uneven terrain. Ankylosaurus did not rush. It moved with purpose, each step grounded and stable. Covering nearly its entire body was thick armor made of bony plates called oscs. These plates were embedded in the skin and varied in size and shape, forming a protective shell that shielded the animal from neck to tail. The armor was not uniform but arranged strategically, overlapping in some areas and locking together in others, allowing protection without completely sacrificing mobility. This armor absorbed and redirected force, making bites and claw strikes far less effective. The head of Ankylosaurus was particularly well protected. Its skull was thick and reinforced, with bony plates fused directly to the bone beneath. Even the eyelids were armored, leaving only small openings for vision. This meant that Ankylosaurus could face an attacker head-on without exposing vulnerable areas. The neck, often a weak point in large animals, was guarded by rings of armor that limited flexibility but greatly increased protection. At the end of its tail was Ankylosaurus' most famous weapon, a massive bony club formed from fused vertebrae and reinforced by dense bone growth. This club was not decorative. It was a powerful, deliberate weapon capable of delivering devastating blows. Muscles along the tail were exceptionally strong, allowing Ankylosaurus to swing the club with controlled force. A single strike could break bones, shatter joints, or cripple a predator instantly. Unlike faster dinosaurs, Ankylosaurus did not rely on speed or intimidation. Its survival strategy was based on certainty. When threatened, it did not flee. Instead, it lowered its body, planted its feet, and oriented itself so the armored back and tail faced the attacker. This posture minimized exposed areas and positioned the tail club for defense. Predators that underestimated Ankylosaurus often paid the price. Large carnivores such as Tyrannosaurus rex shared the same environment, but even these apex predators had to approach Ankylosaurus with extreme caution. Biting through armor was difficult and risky, and a misjudged attack could result in broken limbs from a tail strike. Fossil evidence suggests that Ankylosaurus and similar armored dinosaurs were rarely preyed upon as adults. Not because they were invisible, but because they were simply too dangerous. Despite its heavy armor, Ankylosaurus was a peaceful herbivore. Its daily life revolved around feeding. Its head was low and broad, equipped with a beak for cropping vegetation. Behind the beak were rows of small teeth adapted for processing tough plant material. Ankylosaurus fed on low-growing plants such as ferns, shrubs, and flowering plants that had begun to dominate the landscape. Its low stance allowed it to access food that taller herbivores ignored. Digestion was slow and thorough. Ankylosaurus had a large gut designed for fermenting plant matter, extracting nutrients over long periods. Feeding occupied much of the day, with movement between feeding sites happening gradually. Energy conservation was critical, and Ankylosaurus avoided unnecessary exertion. Its armored body required significant energy to maintain, making efficiency essential. The senses of Ankylosaurus were tuned for awareness rather than precision. Its vision was limited by armored eye openings, but this was compensated by a strong sense of smell and sensitivity to vibrations. The approach of a large animal could be detected through ground movement long before direct contact. This early warning allowed Ankylosaurus to prepare its defensive posture in advance. Social behavior in Ankylosaurus was likely minimal. Its armor made close contact awkward, and large groups would have increased competition for food. Individuals probably lived solitary lives or formed loose associations in areas with abundant resources. Encounters between individuals were likely calm, with visual cues and body positioning preventing conflict. Reproduction introduced vulnerability into an otherwise well-defended life. Eggs and hatchlings lacked armor and were extremely exposed. Young Ankylosaurus relied on camouflage, hiding, and rapid growth to survive. As they matured, osteoderms gradually developed, hardening over time into the protective armor seen in adults. The tail club took many years to fully form, meaning juveniles were far more cautious than adults. Growth was slow but steady. Each year added layers of defense, increasing survival chances. By the time an Ankylosaurus reached full size, it had few natural enemies. Its presence alone altered predator behavior. Shaping hunting strategies and influencing which prey species were targeted, Ankylosaurus played an important ecological role. By feeding on low vegetation, it influenced plant distribution and prevented overgrowth in certain areas. Its movement through dense undergrowth created pathways that smaller animals could use. Its waste enriched the soil, contributing to plant regeneration and ecosystem stability. As the late Cretaceous progressed, environments continued to change. Sea levels shifted, climates fluctuated, and ecosystems became more complex. Ankylosaurus remained successful due to its specialization in defense and low-level feeding. However, like all Nanavian dinosaurs, its story eventually ended with the massive extinction event that reshaped life on Earth. What Ankylosaurus represents is not slowness or primitiveness, but absolute specialization. It was an animal that turned defense into dominance, not by chasing or overpowering others, but by making itself nearly impossible to kill. Every part of its body reflected this philosophy, from armored eyelids to a weaponized tail. In life, Ankylosaurus would have moved steadily through ancient landscapes. Its armored body blending with the earth itself, its tail club swaying slowly but ready to strike. It did not need speed, aggression, or intelligence to survive. Its strength lay in certainty, patience, and an evolutionary design so effective that even the greatest predators hesitated to challenge it.